Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So in this video, we're going to discuss Geeks for Geeks problem of the day, and today's problem is maximum triplet product, and it is a medium level problem. So it says it is a medium level problem, but I believe it is on the lower end of the medium difficulty range because the intuition to this problem is very simple. So it says that we have been given an array of size n. The task is to find maximum triplet product, right? So we have to take three numbers from the array such that the product should be maximum. So let us take this particular example. So this is the test case and the answer is coming out to be 20. So let us discuss how can we form the answer 20 from this particular test case, right? So here if you see, the smallest two elements are -5 and -3 and the greatest element is 8. So this, if you multiply these two, it would be 15, and 15 into 8 is 120, right? So this is how they derive the answer. Now for this particular question, the intuition, as I already said, is very simple. There are only two ways to construct the maximum answer. One is to obviously take the maximum three digits. So let's say they are the max 0, max 1 and max 2. So let's say these are the three maximum digits in the whole array, or these are the three maximum numbers in the whole array. We can just multiply them and form our answer. So this is our first possible answer. Like this can be one of our answers. Now the other answer can be, since like we can take negative integers, but we are only restricted to take three integers at a time, right? So obviously if there are some negative integers, let's say negative x, negative y, negative z, negative p, negative q, we can take only three of the total number of numbers in the whole array. Definitely we would want to pick only two from here. Only two means exactly two from here. The reason being, if I take two from here, the overall product would become positive, right? And then we can take a one from the positive side. Let's say it is positive a, right? So if we take two from here, this would be xy in positive, and if you multiply with a, so it would be axy in positive, right? The reason why we are taking only two from here is because we want to make the product positive and we don't want to go to the negative side. Now the question is, how do we decide which which exact value should we take, right? Which two values from the negative value should we take? So it's obvious, we would want to take the values which have the maximum absolute value. Maximum absolute value, for the negative numbers, to find out the maximum absolute value, we need to check the minimum two numbers. So let's say these are the minimum 0, minimum 0 and minimum 1, right? So we are taking the minimum two numbers, we can multiply them, and then we can take the maximum number from the positive side to multiply. So this would be our second answer, right? So the best among answer 2 and answer 1 would be our final answer, and this is all about the question. This is the only thing you need to know to solve the question, right? So the problem is, the question mentions that the expected type complexity is O of n. If it would have been n log n, then we could have easily sorted the array, and that approach also works. Nothing wrong in that. It's just that the question mentions that the expected complexity is O of n. So if you sort it and just take the first two elements and the last element to form answer 2, and you can just take the last three elements to form answer 1 and take the maximum of those two, that would be absolutely correct. There is no problem in that. But if you want to find the answer in O of n time, then one way to do it, since we only want to store the two minimum numbers and three maximum numbers, right? This is what we want to store. So we can do it like very easily. We can maintain an array or vector of size 2, and we can maintain an array of vector of size 3, right? So like, just for the sake of consistency, let us make both of them 3. It doesn't matter, you can take two only, we only need two of them, but even if you take 3, there is no problem, right? So this would be the minimum numbers and this would be the maximum numbers. So what you can do is, in each loop, for example, if you have the current element, right? So let's say that this is the smallest, this is the between number, and this is the biggest among the minimum three numbers, and again this is the greatest and this is the smaller one and this is the smallest one, right? These are the indexes, how they are arranged. For example, if I have current element, Now if current, let's say the values are x, y and z, x, y and z. So let's say the current element is less than x, right? So what I'll have to do is I'll have to update the values. I'll have to insert current element here, right? Now I'll have to check whether x is smaller than y or not. If x is smaller than y, then x will take its position and y will be the current element. Now I'll have to check whether y is smaller than z or not. If it is smaller, then obviously y will take its position, right? In these cases, obviously if it was before, it would definitely be smaller, but it's just that we have to shift like all those numbers one by one, right? So for example, if the current element is smallest among all x, y and z, then for example, if x, y and z were like this, now current element is even smaller than x, so they will all shift by one place like this. If current element is greater than x but smaller than y, the elements will shift like this. For example, the first place will have x element, the second place will have current, and the third place will have y, right? If the if the current element was greater than x, greater than y but smaller than z, then it would look something like x, y and c, right? Similarly, that is exactly what we have to do for the greatest element. What we'll have to do is we'll check if the initial elements were x, y and z. If the current element is greater than x, then we set the current element here and we'll have to shift the other two. If the current element is smaller than x but greater than y, we'll keep x as it is, replace y with c, and shift y one place, right? So this is exactly what we have to do. At the end, we will always have the smallest two numbers and the maximum three numbers, and we already know what we have to do with them. We can just form two types of answer, right, and take the maximum among them. So this was all about today's solution, and let me just quickly go through it again. So it says we have been given an array and we have to find the maximum triplet product. Now to find out the maximum triplet product, one way is to take the maximum three numbers, and that is the obvious answer. So this would be one of the answers. The other answer can be when we take the minimum two numbers such that they multiply and become a positive number, and take the maximum number like in the whole array. So this is the approach. You can also do it by sorting the whole array and taking the first two values and the last value for this for second answer, and the last three values for this answer one, right? This would give you the correct answer, and this approach also works. But since the question mentions that we have to do it in O of n, then we can discuss our O of n approach also. So for this particular O of n approach, what you can do is we can just maintain two vectors or arrays called minimum and maximum. In these arrays, you can store the smallest three numbers and the greatest three numbers respectively, right? Storing them is fairly simple. Like at zero index, for example, the smallest element is present, then let's say there are x, y and z. Whenever a new element comes, you can just place it at its respective position. For example, if the new element c is less than x, then it goes to the first position. If it is greater than x but smaller than y, it goes to the second position. If it is greater than x and y but smaller than z, it goes to the third position. And the same thing goes for the max array also. It's just that we have to take care of greater than greater than relation instead of smaller than, right? So this is all about today's problem. Now let us have a look at the code. So this particular problem, what we have done is we have created two arrays, min and max. So that the reason why we take a different spelling is because min and max are reserved words, because they are used as like functions, as I have not like here, right? So you cannot take maximum as the variable name. So that is why we just replace one character, min and max we take it, right? So for example, starting the minimum array, I would initialize all values with a bigger value, which would definitely not be present in my array, since it is minus 10 to the power 6 to 10 to the power 6. That is why I have taken 10 to the power 10, right? So this is a bigger value. For initializing maximum array, I have taken a very small value. Now I just run a for loop and I initialize my current variable as array of I. Now for each of those indexes in the minimum array, if current is less than minimum, then I just swap current and minimum. So the current element will take the at the place at the particular index, and that particular element will become the current now. So it will go on, and like first, for example, let me just show you a dry run for this. So if like x, y and z were here, let's say the current element is smaller than x, it is smaller among all of them. So first of all, c will come here, current element will come here, and now the current element will become x. Now x is smaller than y, definitely it is smaller than y. So what will happen is x will come here and the current element will become y. Y is smaller than z, definitely it is smaller than z. So current element will become z and y will take its place. So that is how I'm shifting all the elements by one position, right? So this is how it works. And similarly, again, I initialized my current element with array of I, and I do the same thing. It's just that I have changed the if condition where I check for the relation. Now I check whether current is greater than maximum of j. So this is what we have done in the whole loops, and now I initialize my answer as maximum of these two values. So this was considered to be answer 2 and this was answer 1. In answer 1, what we do is we take all the maximum 3 values, and in answer 2 what we do is we take the minimum 2 values and the maximum and the greatest value, right? So this is what we are doing, and then we can just return our answer. So this is how you can solve today's problem of the day, maximum triplet product. As I've already said that this was on the lower end on the medium difficulty range, and that was it for today's video. If you guys were able to understand the solution, then please show your appreciation by clicking on the like button. And you can, if you find these videos useful, you can subscribe to the channel. It's always free of cost, and if you don't like the content later, you can always unsubscribe. And don't forget to share this channel with your friends. Till the next video drops, keep coding, stay safe, bye bye.